Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP for the second time in his short career. This is year number 6 for him in the NFL, but it's only year number 5 for him as a starter. Patrick Mahomes yesterday threw 3 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes yesterday completed 21 of 27 passes. Patrick Mahomes only threw for 182 yards. I don't know how many of you out there placed bets and wagers on yesterday's game, but I have a hard time believing that a lot of you bet the under on 200 total passing yards, even against a good defense like the Philadelphia Eagles. I figured even a bad day for Patrick Mahomes would be a 220, 230 range. And I don't think it was a bad game. Some people have a problem with him taking home the MVP trophy. There was nobody else on that team that you could have potentially given that to. However, I do know this from a defensive standpoint. When you talk about the fact that the defense was able to score a touchdown yesterday, that was pretty fascinating if you ask me. But the thing that's interesting is when you look at how they approached that game, when you talk about Burton and everybody too, that made a huge, play and impact on that. It wasn't one of the typical games that we expect from a Patrick Mahomes. He was the MVP yesterday. Now, I know this came in, I believe it was, so David Shaw says, should Jalen Hurts have been the Super Bowl MVP? Look, I think that when your team wins, the MVP deserves to be on the team that won that game. Was Jalen Hurts the better quarterback yesterday? Absolutely. But the thing that's fascinating to me is you look at what Patrick Mahomes had to do to will his team. The Chiefs were not that good yesterday, but they put 38 points up on the board. Patrick Mahomes had to will them to every point, every yard, every play, every first down. You obviously the run game for the Chiefs, 158 yards on the ground. But, I like Pacheco, by the way, a rookie running back. It took a lot of rookies. You don't understand. This roster is not the best roster in the NFL, not even close. The Cincinnati Bengals roster, I will take over this Chiefs roster hands down. This is like not, Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon, they combined for 100 yards between the two and 1 touchdown. They didn't have, they don't have a Joe Mixon. They don't have a Nick Chubb. They don't have a J.K. Dobbins. They don't have an elite running back. They don't have elite wide receivers. Juju Smith-Schuster, 7 catches for 53 yards, and he didn't make an impact until the second half. Justin Watson, never heard of him. Jerick McKinnon, 3 catches, 15 yards. Kadarius Toney, 1 catch for 5 yards. His biggest play was on special teams. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, his second best wide receiver, 0 targets, 0 catches, 0 yards. Folks, what do we do? Patrick Mahomes, I know you look at the numbers and say he should not have been the MVP. This is a horrible offense. That is an elite offense because of him. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football, not even close. Might go down as the best of all time, and we keep moving that bar because we're just coming off of the Gronk era, who is the best tight end in the history of football. You could debate that amongst yourselves. That's fine. Love Travis Kelce. Man, I would love him in Cleveland. Y'all would love him in Cincinnati. Yeah, everyone would love him anywhere he's at. But him and Patrick Mahomes, that's the best 1-2 punch in football, right up there with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Those two that's a strong punch. No, it doesn't get any better than Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. It is literally Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and that's it. So, Shaw, I know we might disagree. I haven't checked the comment section in a moment. But to me, yes, I do believe he deserved that MVP. I think he deserved it because, my God, he has that offense is horrible. You look at those weapons. That is horrible. You put Joe Burrow in this, and I'm not saying Joe Burrow would be bad, but Joe Burrow I do not think would put up the same numbers that Patrick Mahomes does with this offense. Patrick Mahomes is a different level quarterback than anything we have in the NFL, which is why I posted last night. 5 years as a starter, 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2-time Super Bowl champion. And we're having a debate not even 2 weeks ago about whether or not he's the best quarterback in the NFL. He is top 5 all time already, and he's 5 years into the league, and we're debating about who the best quarterback in the National Football League is. Come on. That's not a shot at Joe Burrow or anybody else. That is just how much I'm complimenting Patrick Mahomes. That's how good Patrick Mahomes is. I have said forever that it's easy to play quarterback on your rookie deal when you have weapons all around you. It was easy to be Josh Allen. It was easy to be Joe Burrow. But when you got to take weapons away, ask Aaron Rodgers. how good of a quarterback, how easy the game was when he lost his best wide receivers. It wasn't good. He went from a 2-time MVP to not even in the playoffs when they took his number 1 and number 2 wide receivers away. It's easy to be Joe Burrow. It's not easy to be Patrick Mahomes right now, but he makes it look easy because he's that damn good. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you take these weapons away and they're not that, these quarterbacks, it's hard to be that. You take his best weapon away, MVP, wins a Super Bowl MVP. Patrick Mahomes, man, I think he was more than deserving of taking home that MVP. I have no issue with it. With that being said, I think he was still outplayed yesterday by a guy that, again, a little easier for him. He has all the weapons. They have multiple high-level running backs. They have multiple high-level wide receivers. It's easier to be Jalen Hurts than it is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes just makes it look easier because he's Patrick Mahomes. With that being said, holy crap, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is exactly what the Ravens wish Lamar Jackson was, because Jalen Hurts can make plays with his legs. Jalen Hurts can run the football. Jalen Hurts can dominate a football game with his arm or his legs. He is everything that the Baltimore Ravens wish Lamar Jackson was, and I know that sounds like a hot take, and it very well might be. But Lamar Jackson is everything that Jalen Hurts is on the ground, but he is not the same through the air. I will take Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson every day of the week. And I think when it's all said and done, as good as Joe Burrow is, as good as Justin Herbert is, what I saw yesterday, it wasn't just the pure talent. It was the mental capability to play his best game at the highest of levels. We have seen Joe Burrow go to the playoffs twice. We have seen him lead his team to the AFC Championship twice. We've seen him win in the AFC Championship once, and then we saw him crumble in the AFC Championship game this year. We watched Joe Burrow crumble in the Super Bowl last year. 2 of his worst games ever have come at the biggest stage. Jalen Hurts, he made that ish look easy yesterday. My goodness. I mean, you flushed him out of the 27-38, 304 yards and 1 touchdown. One touchdown. Oh, no, he had 4 total touchdowns. He rushed for 3 touchdowns, 15 carries, 70 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, threw for 300 yards, and, a touchdown. Jalen Hurts, unfreaking believable. I think when it's all said and done, he will be the best quarterback from that 2020 draft class. There's nothing wrong with Joe Burrow. He's still an elite quarterback. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But Joe Burrow can't do what Jalen Hurts did yesterday, and we watched it. I know we watched Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl a year ago against a very good defense. Jalen Hurts went against a very good defense yesterday. He made it look easy. Joe Burrow struggled against that same defense 2 weeks ago. Couldn't do anything. Jalen Hurts did everything. 300 yards, 70 yards on the ground, 4 total touchdowns. And if that team won, he would have been Super Bowl MVP. And that's exactly why I said last week, and Bengals fans got so mad at me. Kinner, don't even try stirring the pot and saying that, we're worried about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has already made people start wondering who the best quarterback in that 2020 draft class is. Joe Burrow's a hell of a dude. But everything that you say Joe Burrow is for the Bengals, Jalen Hurts is that and then some for the Eagles. And we saw him play his best game ever at the biggest game of his career yesterday. Joe Burrow did not play his biggest game on the biggest stage last year. Joe Burrow also was not good enough to get his team back to the Super Bowl this year against a Chiefs team that was worse than a year ago. I'll take Jalen Hurts. I mean, I'm a complete believer in Jalen Hurts after yesterday, but I believe we saw the 2 best teams. And a year from now, we might be talking about these 2 guys as the 2 best quarterbacks in the National Football League, because that's how much, especially if Jalen Hurts is adding that, he's complementing that pass game with that run game. We're talking about a guy 300 yards through the air, 70 yards on the ground, 4 total touchdowns. I get why people think he should have been the MVP. I still think the MVP should go to the quarterback on the winning team. But I'm all about Patrick Mahomes coming away with that yesterday. His numbers weren't great. He didn't have a hell of a lot of help yesterday either. I'm all about what we saw from Jalen Hurts moving forward. And I think the Eagles, they have their star. Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. You heard what I have to say, Kev.